Hello guys, full time at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 1, Arsenal 1. I am not at Stamford Bridge, as you can see. I'm actually at my mum's house, and she's a Chelsea fan. But there you go. That was an interesting watch. I think that's a decent result for Arsenal. I would have taken it before the game. Obviously, it keeps our gap with Chelsea to 6 points. Extends our lead over City to 5. They obviously got the late winner yesterday to go into second place, and they stay there now. I think I definitely would have taken it on the balance of play as well. I don't think we performed particularly well today. I do not think this was Arsenal at their best. I think this was Arsenal at the end of a very long, taxing week after two huge games against Spurs and then Bayern Munich. An Arsenal probably feeling a bit of fatigue. An Arsenal have lost players to injury this week. Trossard out today. William Saliba, a surprise omission as well. That meant no Saliba or Gabriel at the back. A first Premier League start together for Hincapié and Mosquera. And I think that goes some way towards explaining why we weren't at our best. I think watching the Arsenal players come off the pitch at the end, there was a bit of frustration there that we didn't take advantage of having 10 men for the majority of that game. They looked a bit disappointed. They looked like they'd left something out there. And it's true. A win would have been huge. Potentially a knockout blow to Chelsea. But I think it would have taken the gap to 9 points if my maths is right. Made it very, very difficult for them to come back from, even at this stage of the season. But I think also we've got to acknowledge the week that we've had and the fact that we just were not at our best today. With Saliba and Gabriel in the side, do we win that game? Possibly. I think they would have given us more assurance, more confidence, more control. What I would say is, I think if Chelsea stay at 11, they looked on course to win that game to me. And if you look at the balance of play, the statistics, even though they went down to 10 in the first half, it's not like we were putting their goal under a ton of pressure. It's not like we were sustaining momentum, generating attack after attack, chance after chance. This was an Arsenal side that looked leggy in places. I think we made changes that were sort of enforced by the game state at different times and didn't necessarily leave us with the best structure on the field at full time. So yeah, I feel content about this one. I think the games keep coming. Obviously, it's Brentford on Wednesday and then Aston Villa, I think I'm right saying, at the weekend. So we just move on, and I think we look at it as kind of no harm done. Mikel Merino involved in the game's two biggest moments from an Arsenal perspective. He obviously was the man fouled by Caicedo. No doubt in my mind it was a red card. It was a very physical game, and it was basically a question of who was going to get sent off first. I'm actually slightly surprised it ended 11 versus 10. I thought we'd see at least one more go. Couldn't tell you which team it would be on. Challenges were flying in from the start. We know Cucurella and Saka is always a real battle. That was kind of what ignited the game, really, that Cucurella shove on Saka. I think Zubimendi might have been the first booking, maybe a little bit harshly, and I think the referee at that point in time, he kind of set the bar for what constituted a yellow card in the game. That meant he had to give out a few more. I think Arsenal had 3 bookings inside the first half hour for the first time in about 20 years. That shows you quite how physical it was. Chelsea are one of the sides who can kind of emulate our physicality, and I wonder if with Saliba and Gabriel out, they sense an opportunity to maybe rough us up a bit. I don't know if there's truth in that, because frankly I think Pierre Hincapié likes that sort of thing. You saw that great tackle on the box he made on Pedro Neto, screaming in his face afterwards. I think he enjoys that aspect of the game. And Mosquera, very athletic, very quick, not easy to get at, but maybe it affected us more in attacking areas. Saka did eventually get the better of Cucurella to create the goal for Merino, who I just think is doing a terrific job. as that sort of false nine. Another big goal from him today. I thought he might have scored the winner as well. Robert Sanchez did really well, I thought, plunging low to save it, but more so getting up to get to the ball ahead of Victor Gyökeres. It was maybe a bit harshly booked, I thought, in that one. He's perfectly entitled to go for it, and I'm not sure it looked quite as bad as Roberto Sanchez made out. Roberto? I think he's just called Robert, but I've just added an O to give him a bit of exoticism. What else to say? We made a change at half-time. Miles Lewis-Skelly came on for Calafiori, who'd been booked. We had 3 of the back 4 booked at that point in time, and a holding midfielder in Zubimendi. Don't know what Mikel Arteta would have thought 8 minutes into the second half when Lewis-Skelly is also booked. Probably not too pleased, but there you go. We did tread the tightrope well. We do that now. We are top of the fair play table. We haven't had a man sent off this season. We are very mature. We are quite calm in those situations. We had players playing on a booking, the likes of Hincapié, and they walked the line well. Credit to them. Timber another. Chelsea have had Caicedo sent off. I think it's their 3rd red card this season. By this time last season, I think Arsenal also had 3 red cards. I think that is kind of emblematic of the fact that Chelsea still have a way to go in terms of maturity. We've seen Mikel Arteta's Arsenal teams in the past be full foul of officials, and it almost feels like now they are keeping themselves. It almost feels like now they're keeping themselves out of trouble. They're saying we're not going to give referees a chance to send us off, and Chelsea went with that big blood and thunder approach, but they paid for it. They paid for it with the red card. Listen, I think they still acquitted themselves pretty well with 10 men. Defended the box well, and they were a threat on the counter-attack. Chelsea will take heart and encouragement from this game. I maintain I don't think they're quite ready to win a Premier League, but they are coming. They are coming. They look to me like the Arsenal of a few years ago, 2 years ago maybe, where they've got a lot of young talent. They can put together some great runs and get some great results, as they did over Barcelona in midweek. They can hold their own, particularly at home against the biggest teams, as they did today, even with 10. But do they have the consistency and the maturity that you need to win a league yet? I'm not so sure. I do think Arsenal are in that place. And I do think in time we'll look back at this as a game where Arsenal were missing some really important players. Starting Mourinho up front, an unfamiliar central defensive pairing. We didn't play particularly well. We fell behind on a set piece. And yet, we weren't beaten. We came away with something. We kept one of our nearest challengers at arm's length. And I think it's another step along the road towards winning that title. But it's a long road ahead. So there we go. At our best, we could beat Chelsea, but we weren't at our best. And they played well. I have to hand it to them. They made a real fist of this game. So there you have it. 1-1. We move on very, very quickly. Brentford on Tuesday. Great to see Gyökeres back in the squad. Great to see Gabriel Jesus back in the squad. I wonder, Mourinho's played a lot of minutes. Do you think Gyökeres could be back in for Brentford on Wednesday? I think I might have said Tuesday, then it's press conference Tuesday. That's what I'm thinking of. Wednesday night is the game. Could it be Gyökeres? Could it be Jesus? I mean, I'd love to see Gabriel Jesus come off the bench and be involved. I think he could really lend something different to this squad. We've said it so many times before, and invariably what happens is he gets injured, but I'd be excited to see it. And as I say, I thought the second half changes. We made changes at 1-0 down that were kind of chasing the game. And then once we got back into it, I'm not sure we had the team to build the game. On the left-hand side, we had Madueke. I think we missed Trossard a bit on that side, a bit of ingenuity, a bit of creativity, a bit of guile, maybe, rather than the more direct approach of Martinelli and Madueke. Could we have got Ez out there and kept Odegaard in the middle? I don't know. As I say, game state informed those changes and had an impact. I'm going to leave it there, guys. Get this uploaded, and we'll have an Askcast Extra tomorrow. There's a full-time whistle briefing up on The Athletic from me. But, I mean, you know what I think already, don't you? You've watched this video. Right, we'll get into it tomorrow on the pod. Take care. Bye-bye.